sound speeds, and welcome to yet another reaction video. Now, we're very much overdue for one, so I figure we go right for the throat, jump on YouTube and type in how to use a boom mic and see what comes up. And one of the first videos that did was this one from Rode Microphones called Boom Pole Positions Crash Course in Location Sound with Ric Viers, Episode 4. At the time of this video, it has 15,377 views and was released on February 18th, 2020, right before the global COVID-19 shutdown. Now, Rode's channel, as of right now, has 140,000 subscribers. And as we know, they make a lot of different kind of products, including boom poles, microphones, shock mounts, and what have you. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video and let's see what my thoughts are. Okay. I hate that I'm having to stop it on the first shot. Okay, so Rick is outside of the car window, pointing the microphone down the road in the direction that the car is going. What's the issue that I see here? Well, the reason I stopped it is because he's not wearing wind protection on that boom microphone. The Zeppelin, the dead cat is missing. And I know that you could say, well, that blimp there, it's pointed down the road, and doesn't that absorb, some and reflect off, deflect some wind? Yes, it does. But here's the thing. If you are doing this outside of a car window, you're not recording dialogue. You are simply recording what's known as nat sound, maybe car squeals, car chase, whatever, in front of him. And that's something that you should be wearing more wind protection for. He's not even wearing headphones. What is wrong with this dude? Okay, in fairness, he might be wearing an inner ear monitor on the other side. So let's at least say that. Let's hope he's at least monitoring it, because if he's not, and he's not even wearing wind protection on the Zeppelin, a couple of big issues there. You're probably not getting anything good if that car is going more than about maybe 3 or 4 miles an hour. Chances are he's going faster than that. So you're going to get like that on the most sensitive area of that microphone, which is the front, which is where the wind is hitting it. So don't do this. I hate that I'm having to stop this already. Okay, let's back this thing up to this shot right here. What did I see wrong with this? Two major things. Number one, mismatched microphone. You have a pencil condenser there. You have a short shotgun microphone there. Second of all, the cube style transmitter is on the end of the microphone, which is on top of a shock mount. Bad form. You don't want to do that. You want the shock mount itself to be holding the microphone and the cable going to the microphone, and that's it. It's isolated in every other way from the transmitter and the boom pole itself. The reason why is because shock mounts are not designed to hold a whole lot of weight. You put a cube style transmitter on there and a microphone, it's much more weight than it's wanting to hold. Now, you might have a longer shotgun microphone or something like that, and you're having to hold it with two bows, two of the lyre bows in the back, or your suspensions in the back and all this extra weight on the front. You're going to have to build up that front side a little bit more if you're using like an M5 PSC microphone shock mount, something like that. You're going to have to put more rubber bands on the front. If you're using a lyre system, then you're going to have to put a more stiff combination of of bows on the front to support all that extra weight. Right here, though, you have yourself a microphone that is this long, and then when you add the cube style transmitter, it is completely balanced off of the back now. It is mismatched balance-wise. The balance point's probably right around here, which is so far back, and the shock mount isn't holding that. You want to get this cube style transmitter off of the shock mount and put something like an XLR tip coming off of this, where the cube style transmitter will connect up to that, and then it's completely off of the shock mount. So the shock mount should only hold the microphone and the cable and nothing else. Okay, mismatched microphones. I mean, unless there's a really good reason, you would always match your microphones in the same room. That way, it's going to be very easy for post if you're double booming this. That way, if a camera, let's say, is getting coverage over here, well, if the camera turns around, you better have the same microphone positions. You better have the same microphone on this dude, same microphone on this dude talking. There's Rick over there. And the reason you want to do that is because if you reverse and this person is like, let's just say this is the primary boom operator. You turn around and you face the other way, these microphones flip. This is not going to match. You can't use the microphone over here from the off camera coverage. You can't use that properly with with that source because they're mismatched microphones. You want to always have matched microphones when you're using two mics in a double boom situation. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting your time, making more difficult work for post at the very least. Okay, so far so good on the rest of it.
One of the most common used tools in location sound.
Okay. The boom operator is going to be killing himself if he continues to boom this way throughout his career. Whenever you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 section boom fully extended, this is, you see the curvature of this boom pole? That's a lot of weight on the front here because you have a microphone inside there, which is probably a short or a long. It's one of the two shotgun microphone lengths. I mean, considering how big this is, it's probably a longer shotgun. Then he has a Zeppelin and he has a dead cat. That's a lot of weight on this boom pole. Look at that curvature right there. And the fact that he's not holding it in some sort of a way that's putting the tension, taking the tension off of his body as much as possible, he is holding it with his leading front arm out away from his body. That means all the weight is on that front arm. You cannot hold this position like that forever. You can do it for a short period of time, but he's going to be wearing himself out. This is not what you want to do. This is very, very, very painful to look at. Painful form right there. He could do this a lot better. Boom pole positions. So he's going to be talking about boom pole positions with that graphic over this form.
Is the boom pole. And the purpose of the boom pole is really simple. It's to get the right mic in the right place at the right time. Moving a boom.
The right mic, okay. In the right place at the right time. Okay. Most of the time, a sound mixer is going to have the microphone or microphones that they like to use inside. That one would be the right mic. In the right place, that's going to be on the person who's on camera or, if you know, off camera, whoever's talking. At the right time, that's any time that person speaks. Plain and simple.
Boom pole in and of itself takes a little bit of practice.
Oh, no. Okay. He had two booms out there before. Where's your other boom? You should not be swinging. Okay, this is the shot. You have a camera over here. Okay, this camera here is pointed over here. It looks like that is a frame. That right there almost looks like a two shot of these two guys. If that's the case and you're only flying one boom, keep that boom over here because you see this guy starts to talk and he's still swinging the boom over.
Takes a little bit of practice.
Okay, that was actually Rick that was talking. So
place at the right
watch
time.
this again.
Moving a boom pole in and of itself takes a little bit of practice.
He starts to talk right there and he turns toward this gentleman right here. So the microphone is on the way over. You can actually see the timing because this dude here stops talking, which means Rick starts talking on the other side.
Right place at the right time. Moving a boom pole in and of itself takes a little bit of practice.
That's cueing. That's a delayed in cueing. So he's delayed cueing. You need to anticipate. So if this guy's yelling right here, you want to make sure that you don't hover the microphone over him because he's yelling. Look at him yelling.
Right place
so watch
at
this
the
again.
right time. Moving a boom pole in and of itself takes a little bit of practice.
Okay, you saw that. He's screaming. When he's screaming like that and then cues the microphone over to the side, he's missing the beginning of that dialogue. Very bad. Don't do that. If you got someone that's yelling and you need to cue back and forth across the table, hover the microphone and do what's called protecting the on-screen. So if the two guys are talking over here, put the microphone on those two guys that are on camera and then cue the microphone back over across the table, especially if the guy's yelling. He's going to pick up just fine. And then cue the microphone back over and do this number. That way you're not leaving the talent that the camera's on.
Typically, the boom pole is used in what's called the H position.
The painful, yikes. Okay. That is a painful position is what it is. Ouch. I mean, that's, okay, this is so much. The H position as he's referring to it, arms overhead. Yes, that's the traditional way to boom. But that is also, in a modern filmmaking, that is very, very, very painful, and you're not going to last long. Takes are getting very long. They're becoming longer and longer every single day. You have restart, roll back to, go back to one, restart, go back to one, restart, still rolling, back to one. Let's do it again. And you continue to roll. You continue to roll. It's not just a 1.5 minute long take anymore because you're recording on film and you have to protect your film stock. No, it's just zeros and ones now, hard drive space. And so you're going to continue to roll, continue to roll, continue to roll, 10 minutes. Finally, you cut because hair or makeup or wardrobe needs to make an adjustment. Then you're going to jump back in there and do it again. This here is extremely painful, and so you do not want to do this in modern filmmaking at all. And this video was just released in 2020. So that's plenty into modern filmmaking, so you don't want to do this. This is actually an old school way that unless you absolutely have to go overhead in this H-style position, you don't do that anymore. I might need to do a video on how to properly hold a boom. If he is that high over talent in that position, there's a problem.
In this position, I can do a whole lot with this boom pole because I can reach probably a good 2 or 3 feet in either direction by using this position.
You can, but here's the thing. You don't want to do most movements with your arms. You want to use your legs to do the bigger movements and then use your arms to fine tune them. He's basically just rocking them back and forth. When you do that, then what you're basically doing is using your entire hands right there, and you're basically moving. You're not using the stronger, heavier, the better absorbing muscles in your body to actually move the microphone. If I use my legs to rock back and forth and just fine tune it a little bit as needed with my hands, I'm going to be able to move much quicker because I can go from here, start to lead and use my legs to get that. And then I can use my hands to slow it down or speed it up or whatever. So you use your hands for the quicker, fine-tuning movements, and you use your legs for the big moves. So if he's just going back and forth like that, I would more rock with my legs and position with my arms and maybe use a combination of that, but try to use more on my legs than my arms because there's really no reason not to.
Moving the microphone around, what I tend to do is I drive it.
All right, it is important what he's doing over there. He is correct in this. If you can operate from the knuckles, you want to, because there's going to be less handling noise that you're going to experience if you're operating from one of those knuckles. If you can hold that and navigate around there, great. I don't know why he's using such a choked up position right now, because this is obviously, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is a 5-section boom, he's off of that. The rear section is way over there, and he's holding it not at the back part of the boom. He's holding it way up. So this back hand is on the knuckle between the largest and the second to largest section, and the front hand is all the way up on the third section, closer to the front of the microphone. That's really, really weird form. I mean, this is correct, but normally this would be your front hand. So you operate from the knuckle on the front hand, and you would have the back of the pole more. You'd have the rear hand on the back hand of the pole, on the back end of the pole. So this is really weird positioning here, but he is at least right on operating from a knuckle.
Or steer it with my right hand, and then with my left hand, I just kind of do this with my hands so that I can rotate or move.
Okay. There is an issue with what he's doing because he is allowing the pole to, you see how he's doing this third section up there, there's going to be more handling noise up there. And if you're rolling through that hand right there, just spinning it like that, and you're not actually rolling with the pole, it's going to be perhaps introducing handling noise. Now this looks like it's the third section of, I mean, that almost looks like an aluminum boom pole. If that's the case, it's going to have a lot of handling noise if you do that. So be very careful if you do that. More rock your hands with it if you can. If you can do this kind of thing, you want to do that. Now, once you get it going, if you need to do a big swing, a big cue all the way over, get your hand rolling and then maybe roll the boom pole through your hand as opposed to doing this and just actually spinning the pole there. So I would actually try to roll the pole more like this in my hands and use my hand to kind of, compensate for it as I'm going around the pole. So it's more like this. So that way it's still resting there and it's rolling across my hand, but it's not actually doing this number where it's just spinning in the same little crook of my thumb. So there you go.
Boom around. If you listen really closely, you can probably hear a little bit of the squeaking sound of
Could
the
if
pole.
they didn't have so much music
over it. To eliminate
over it.
this, you wear cotton gloves.
Okay. Cotton gloves. Okay, that's an old school thing to do. That's if you have a boom pole that is noisy, all right? But here's the thing. You don't have to wear cotton gloves. If you use the proper technique, for one, and number two is you don't have to necessarily wear cotton. I use leather. If I'm going to do anything, I usually use leather because soft leather gloves would still, like, for example, the Mechanics 0.5 millimeter gloves that I like to wear. Those are very, very soft. As a matter of fact, I'll throw a link down in the description. You've seen me talk about them before, but those gloves are reinforced right here because it's like designed for holding and generating more torque. So it's actually got an extra layer right here of leather, and it's very, very soft. It makes no noise. It doesn't stick to the pole either, but if you do this number, it'll grab it really well and successfully, so that way you don't have any handling noise, and it's great. I mean, but cotton gloves, there's a couple of issues with them. Number one is you cannot hold onto the pole nearly as well, especially if you do the wide H position they're talking about. You cannot hold the pole properly because your hand's going to slide too easily. And that's going to introduce more handling noise to a boom pole like this. So you have to keep your hands tighter in at that point, and you have to either that or do a death grip to hold your hands in position. Now, the cotton gloves are, like I said, something you can do if you really want to, but leather gloves with a really soft leather on there, like those 0.5 Mechanics gloves, I really love those, and I highly recommend them.
It's important when you use a boom pole to not wear rings, because rings, any kind of movement on
That is correct. That is correct, because if you use a ring, it's very easy for you to tap on that. As a matter of fact, this is the reason why I wear a silicone ring. You've seen me talk about that in previous videos. I wear silicone now. Actually, I don't even know the last time I put on my real wedding ring. If you watch my SoundSpeeds videos, and you have for a long time, you probably have seen it's months, if not a year or more, since I last wore my actual wedding ring. I have it right over there, but I just don't wear it. The reason why is because I'm always booming and changing it in and out, or saying, I got to take this off, put it in my pocket. Don't want to do that. So I always leave the actual wedding ring someplace else, but then I wear this one because I always wear black on set, and then the blue is my wife's favorite color. So I wear this one right here as a reminder of the fact that I am married, and this is an actual wedding ring right there, as far as I'm concerned. So even though it's not my official wedding ring, I wear this because this is still dead quiet. You're not going to hear that against a boom pole. Silicone wedding rings, go for it.
the pole will pick up in the microphone. If you're in a situation where you have to extend the pole.
Oh, one other note about that is if you're going to be doing that, if you're a boom operator, then have your wife help you pick out one that she likes, a silicone wedding ring that you're going to use while you're at work. And then on the weekends, change it out or something like that. That way she's at least involved in the process, or he, if you're married to a he and not a she, then by all means, have your spouse or significant other or whatever pick out your silicone ring that you're going to be wearing on set.
All the way for a long period of time to reach the talent. I use what I call the crucifix position, because essentially you're just hanging your arms up like.
Oh, jeez. This is bad. This is bad. You have lost all control over the boom pole at this point, and you are putting all the weight on the back of your neck and shoulders. This is terrible. You're resting your arms on the back of your neck and shoulders. What does this do? It pulls your neck down and forward. This is very punishing on you, as if it's not bad enough that you're already, telling people to use the H position and putting your arms in that strain position. Don't do this at all. If you're going to do this and someone suddenly moves, what are you going to do? Swish around, like this? Don't do this. If you want to rest the pole, rest it in front of you. I really should do a video on this stuff, because I get so frustrated at seeing some of these kinds of things. Look at the torque. The whole pole is arching. He's resting his arms on top of it. So it's damaging on the pole. It's damaging on the back of his neck, because his arms aren't just resting by his side. They're resting on the back of his neck at this point, along with the pole, which has a little bitty small diameter and putting pressure on the back of your neck. Bad form. Gosh.
This, and that does a lot of the work for you. And then I kind of use my...
And then you're going to slide it. Oh, geez. You're going to then slide the knuckles over the back of your neck, causing more handling noise?
Your arms up like this, and that does a lot of the work for you. And then I kind of use my body to swing the pole back and forth. You also have what I call the flagpole position. So if you're a one-man band sound person, so you're running double duty sound mixing, and you've got a bag in front of you, and you're running the boom pole.
Okay.
You still need to have one hand.
He's talking about underbooming. Okay, so flagpole position. Why would he call that? Flagpoling is where you go vertical with it, just like this. So is that what he means?
Free to operate the controls of the mixer.
Okay. So he is talking about flagpoling. So it's more boom pole is vertical, and you point it at talent. Okay, so That makes sense, at least.
Recorder. So in that position, what I do is I hold the boom pole right about there, and then I let it fall up against my arm.
Yeah.
And then from there, I can operate my bag and then move my pole.
Yeah, that's actually it. That way you don't ever just have one point of contact on the boom pole. That way you have two. So that's actually, first correct thing I've heard him really say. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but honestly, that's what I'm gonna stick to, because if you hold the boom pole here and you have it resting against your arm here, that is still going to be that's still like an entire support right there. The entire forearm is now a support for that boom. So if someone hits the end of the boom, you can very easily, regain control by simply pulling down more to keep it on that forearm. So that's at least good.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
It's not as...
Sorry, I had to pause. I was So he's playing a girl in this. Okay. That's fine. And he's got his little goatee things there. Okay, so they're using the wing. That's a K-Tech. Okay. Okay, so they only have the one Zeppelin. It's probably matched microphones there. Sorry, I'm a little puzzled here. I don't know if he can actually see over this bounce right there. I don't know what's going on. Bad position. I can't really tell what's going on. Okay, let's move on. Nothing to see here.
Sturdy is using both hands, but in some positions, when you got to record, you have to record, so you have to do both jobs at the same time. Finally, we do what's called scooping. Scooping is when, instead of miking from up top,
yes,
you mic from underneath the talent. When scooping, you need to realize that the microphone is now pointing up in the air. So the background sound that is above you now is directly available to the microphone.
That's correct. Now, there's other things to keep in mind also. Because you're under booming, anybody who does podcasting or something like that and uses the microphone down here as opposed to overhead, you're going to know this. You're going to pick up a lot more chest noises. So if you're pointing the microphone up from underneath, the acoustics change. You want to not go close to the body. You want to have it farther away from the body. That way you get less bass out of that, and you're still pointing back at their mouth. That's going to help you to balance better the sound from someone's mouth. Because if you're overhead miking, the very first sound you get is the mids and highs from their mouth. Then you have the chest cavity a little farther away. When you're coming up from underneath, it's the chest that you're going to hear first, then the mids and highs from your mouth. So you want to get it off of the chest and angle more in. That way you get a better balanced sound.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit...
Okay, so there you go. That's the video. So this came up when I said how to use a boom mic. As much as I love Rode, I'm not sure about this Ric Viers guy. I wonder if I IMDb'd him. What is he? I'm not going to even go there. It doesn't matter what he's worked on. Personally, I would not be teaching this way if it were me. I mean, I don't want to sound like a jerk because I love Rode and how they handle things and their innovation and stuff like that. I'm probably going to have to release a series on how to use a boom pole, because I know Ken Strain has his course at Video Mantis where he talks about it. If you ever go see his master boom class in person, he covers a lot of really good things. But I tell you, this is more traditional. This is more old school. This is more 101 as to what you're doing. And if someone does it as a hobby, booms as a hobby, you're going to be hurting yourself. And you don't have to. As a matter of fact, when the COVID shutdown stopped in 2020 and I returned to work, I don't think I'd held a boom in my hands for about 6-7 months. And my daughters were very concerned about me stepping on set. And they're like, Dad, you're going to be hurting yourself. You need to start working out. You need to work out your shoulders and your arms. I'm like, no. Well, Dad, you're going to be killing yourself. No, I'll be fine. Well, aren't you going to be tiring yourself out? It's like you're thinking about this the wrong way. There's a technique to it. If you do the technique right, you don't make yourself tired and kill yourself. There are ways of doing it where you kill yourself, and there's ways of booming where you don't kill yourself. I'm all about not killing myself as I boom. Sure, I'll have the boom way up and out of the shot, and I'm not going to be screamed at from the operators because there's a way to do it. But this isn't it. Sorry, Rode. Sorry, Ric Viers. this isn't cutting it for me. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Soundspeeds. Be sure, actually, you know what? Let me stop this outro for a second. If there's another video you would like to see me react to and cover, whether or not it's accurate, the techniques, the flaws, the perfections, the really good stuff, the really bad stuff, whatever, please send me the link at alan@soundspeeds.us or put it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys are watching and what you guys are questioning the legitimacy of. So thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in this episode of Soundspeeds. Be sure to the future for more reaction videos, whatever the world I want to talk about regarding sound, and of course, as always, sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.